They didn't realize they were surrounded at first. The artillery sounded normal, distant, routine. Then the roads went quiet. Then the radio stopped answering. Then supply trucks stopped arriving. By late January 1944, more than 50,000 German soldiers were trapped near the town of Korsun in Ukraine. Two Soviet fronts had driven in from north and south. Armored spearheads cut the last escape routes. The ring closed, not loosely, not temporarily, closed. And the Red Army wasn't rushing. It was tightening. Inside the pocket, the temperature dropped below -20 degrees. Fuel thickened in tanks. Truck engines refused to turn. Men stripped carburetors in freezing wind, trying to coax life from dead machines. Rifle bolts had to be worked constantly to prevent freezing solid. Snow fell almost daily, softening sound but exposing movement across open fields. At first, the command structure still functioned. Orders moved, units repositioned. But the map changed every day. Villages marked secure were shelled into rubble. Tree lines became front lines. Front lines dissolved into isolated strongpoints surrounded by open snow. Soviet artillery was precise. Supply dumps first, bridges second, medical stations third. Anything that prolonged survival was targeted. The ring did not collapse violently. It squeezed. Food shortages became immediate. Rations were halved, then halved again. Horse meat replaced bread. Melted snow replaced water. Field kitchens disappeared overnight under shell fire. Men began hiding portions of food from one another. Trust thinned. The wounded filled barns and cellars. Blankets froze stiff overnight. Medical instruments stuck to skin. Some soldiers stopped removing boots at night. Afraid frostbite would claim their toes before morning. Frostbite did not kill quickly. It waited. Air supply was promised. Transport planes droned overhead through gray skies. Crates fell by parachute. Some landed inside German lines. Many drifted into Soviet positions. Some shattered on frozen ground. Men sprinted across exposed snowfields under fire to retrieve them. Several were cut down mid-run. Inside the pocket, ammunition was counted round by round. Machine gun teams were told to conserve fire. Artillery units fired only when absolutely necessary. Each day, the circle tightened another few hundred meters. Outside the pocket, relief forces attacked. Panzer divisions pushed north through heavy snow. For a moment, hope surged. Distant gunfire sounded closer. Inside the ring, soldiers stood in trenches listening. Some believed they could hear German engines in the distance. Rumors spread quickly. Breakthrough in 2 days. Breakthrough tomorrow. But Soviet defenses were layered. Minefields beneath snow. Anti-tank guns dug deep into frozen ground. Artillery pre-sighted on every approach corridor. Each German push from outside slowed, then stalled, then stopped. Inside the pocket, the sound of friendly engines faded again. And when that sound vanished, morale collapsed with it. By the second week of February, discipline began to fracture. Not loudly, quietly. Units stopped reporting full numbers. Officers argued over fuel allocation. Some soldiers hoarded ammunition. Others traded cigarettes for scraps of bread. The wounded begged to be moved west before any breakout. But there were no trucks left. Soviet loudspeakers carried across the snow. Promises of warm food, medical care, survival. Most ignored them. Some listened longer than they admitted. Artillery pressure increased daily. Positions that had held for weeks were abandoned overnight. Men stopped asking when relief would arrive. They asked how far they would have to run and whether running would matter. Then the pocket split. Soviet forces cut through the center, dividing the trapped army into fragments. Communication lines failed. Units lost contact. Small formations were surrounded within the pocket itself. Confusion spread. Maps were outdated within hours. Some battalions fought isolated battles, unaware the main breakout plan was already forming. The situation was no longer strategic. It was survival. Then the order came. Break out. No heavy equipment. Destroy what cannot move. Wounded who cannot walk, remain. Speed is everything. On the night of February 16th, columns formed silently in darkness. Thousands began moving west through knee-deep snow. No lights, no shouting, only boots grinding ice and breath freezing in the air. At first, movement felt almost calm. The outer Soviet line seemed thin. Forward elements slipped through gaps. Some groups crossed the first defensive belt without contact. Hope flickered again. Then flares burst overhead. White light flooded the fields. Machine guns opened from multiple directions. Artillery crashed into packed columns. Snow erupted in violent bursts of dirt and ice. Men scattered. Officers lost control. Units merged and dissolved. Some pushed forward blindly. Some fell flat and never rose again. Soviet tanks moved to seal the breach, engines roaring across frozen farmland. Infantry advanced behind armor, cutting down scattered groups. The breakout became chaos. No formations, no ranks, only clusters of men running for tree lines. Some reached friendly positions. Others were pinned in open snowfields. Wounded men dragged themselves forward until strength failed. By dawn, the landscape west of Korsun was littered with wreckage, burning vehicles, abandoned guns, bodies half covered in drifting snow. Thousands escaped. Thousands were captured. Thousands never left the field. For the Red Army, Korsun confirmed something decisive. Encirclement worked. The Wehrmacht could be trapped, compressed, forced into desperate retreat. Momentum on the Eastern Front had shifted permanently. For the men inside the pocket, the lesson was simpler. Hesitation killed. Winter punished delay. And once the ring closes, it rarely opens cleanly. Today, the fields near Korsun are quiet. Farms stand where trenches once ran. Snow still falls in winter. But beneath the soil lie engine fragments, shattered artillery, rusted rifles, remains of an army that learned too late that in modern war, speed saves you, or snow buries you.